Hey there, AG Squared here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you all a couple things. First, I want to show to potential investors of real estate or people that are trying to learn how to invest in real estate, how to assess if a particular residential property is worth even considering buying and taking a look at. Secondly, I also want to show potential home buyers what are things that I look for when looking through a Zillow listing. Again, before as a homeowner, I even spent time to go and look at it in person. So without further ado, let's take a look. Normally, one of the things I'm going to skip in this video is creating a set of saved criteria so that you can get notified when a particular property that meets that criteria comes to the market. If you are interested in that, please let me know in the comments below so that I can go ahead and record content on my saved criteria. So let's go ahead and take a look at a particular property that I saw a few days ago, and I went ahead and saved it. As you can see, there's a lot of homes that I've saved in the past. The one in particular I want to talk about is this one here. Yes, it does show it's under contract. Spoiler alert, typically a lot of the ones that I see end up being gems in my area that I invest in. And therefore they end up going under contract within typically a day or two, even in today's market of high interest rates, where sometimes you see homes in the market for 15, 20, 30 days even. So I know that my evaluation criteria is very, very popular by other investors and even homeowners as well. So I've got a lot of competition. So with that said, whether you're an investor or a homeowner, make sure that you've got the right team and connections already set up. You're gonna need a reliable realtor. You're gonna need a reliable loan officer, and then you're gonna also need a reliable inspector at a minimum to be able to move quickly if you do find a property you like. Okay, first things, what do I first start doing when I want to determine if it's worth my time to look at the property? First thing that I do is I ballpark based on the price and the type of beds and the number of baths and the square footage. I determine, just top of mind, am I gonna cash flow? I know based on all the properties I bought, based on the interest rates, based on all the other cash flow in my current properties, and based on the rental demand, I already know this is a great deal. But if you're unsure, even before you look at the details on Zillow, you can scroll all the way down until you get to there's a section here, if I find it. Here it is. You scroll all the way down until you see monthly payment calculator here. Now, in this particular spot, all you got to do is expand this, assume that that's what the price is going to be, minimum 20% down if it's an investment property. This is bogus. You're not going to get anything less than 7.5, and that's including if you pay some discount points. And so off the bat, I'm looking at $2,387 for mortgage. That's obviously extrapolating property taxes, home insurance. It may be more than that. In fact, it probably will be. Actually, this is about right for investment properties of this size. I'm actually going to go ahead and increase it to $1,800 though, to be pessimistic. Here is the amount I would be paying every month. Now, this is a 4-bed, 3 full bath, which I love that setup. Better than the 3-bed, 2 full bath, because in my model, I rent room by room. Yes, I am my own property manager as well from all my properties, so I don't actually have additional property management costs nor expenses. So knowing all that, one of the first things I do is I determine how much am I going to cash flow. And I'm also going to determine how much is my cap rate. Now, there's 2 ways of calculating cap rate. Let's take a look. The first way is typically by calculating the net operating income and dividing that by the current market value of that property. Net operating income is pretty easy to determine. You take your mortgage, which includes the principal and interest, it includes property tax, and includes home insurance. If you were to partner up with a property management company, you'd want to include those fees in as well, but again, minus $0. And then my utilities are paid by the renters. So my net operating income would be whatever I think is my rental revenue minus this amount. Now, in my area, I know that for a private bathroom shared area, I can get $800. This is a 3 full bath, so I know that's times 2, added by $700 for each room that I share, that shares a bathroom. Up no more than 2 people sharing a bathroom. Off the bat, $3,000 in monthly rent revenue. So I take $3,000 now minus $2,408. And that is $592 in positive cash flow. Doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not because of high interest rates. But if we take 592 and divide that by the net value of this home, which let's assume is $370,000. I also have to take 592 times 12 because I have to get the year amount. I'm looking at a 1.9% cap rate. That's really low. What I have found though is as an investor buying a house, I'm less concerned about this type of cap rate calculation because frankly, what I'm putting into the value is what I care about. What's my ROI on my immediate investment? I'm not putting $360,000. I'm only putting 20% of that down. So the other way to calculating, which is less popular, but in my opinion, more informative for the type of business that I operate, is to take the net operating income and divide it by the purchase price. So let's go back and calculate that again. So now my purchase price is going to be $370. Let's remember 592. Okay, that's my cash flow. So 592, but if my purchase price is 370,000 and I'm putting down 20% of that, I also need to assume about 5% of closing costs. So I'm really gonna take 25%, 20% down, 5% towards closing. I'm putting into this deal $92,500. Okay, so let's just round up. I remember cash flow was 600 times 12 divided by that amount. Let's add some parentheses to make this actually calculate the right amount. And then it's divided by this amount. So my cap rate based on the current projections and this way of calculating is now 7.8% if we round up. That's a little more reasonable in my area. I'm based in Georgia, a little bit farther north than Atlanta, but this is pretty much in the ballpark of what I'm looking and expecting. And again, I expect my cap rate to go up the moment I refinance this property, get a better interest rate, and be able to cash flow even more. So that is basically what I did in my head, by the way, y'all. I mean, what we just did here is very meticulous. It also doesn't take into account vacancy rates, because your cash flow, you're gonna wanna have a buffer based on maintenance, based on vacancy rates. I have an Excel sheet that I calculate this. If you would find that useful for your education purposes or for your early efforts in real estate investment, leave a comment below. We'll stay in touch. I'll send you some information to help you out and share my experience. But I do all that in my head nowadays because I own 7 properties in this area. I knew based on this price, the square footage, the number of beds, the number of baths, and overall interest rates and how much my mortgages are across the other properties, that this would have been a good investment. But now it's actually time to determine the condition of the house and some of the features. So what are the things I look for? First is comp rates. $134 per square foot. That is very reasonable for this area here. Again, knowing if you had a realtor, ask them to do a comp analysis, not just for home value, but also for rental comps. How much are homes typically being rented for here? How long are they out in the market? Most people rent the entire house. Again, I rent room by room to young working professionals or to college students. And so I already know that my rental revenue is going to be higher than what the rent comps have. Okay, so that's the first thing to look at. Is it actually a good deal? Just purely on square footage. A lot of factors go into this, including the condition of the home. So that's something we're going to look at the pictures, as well as something I would look at in person, which, by the way, if you're interested in checking out a video of where I share around, I think it was 30 or 35 tips that I look for, not as an inspector, but as a homeowner and as an investor when touring a home, check out my link up here for that video. I'm sure you'll find it very useful and informative. All right, next thing I look at is I look at some of the details in the house. What's the location based on the map? Is it near common highways and transportation and roads? Is it near a university? Are there near grocery stores? Near plazas for entertainment? Good restaurants? Basically, what's the surroundings look like? Is it in a favorable area and in a high demand area? So this description tells me that a little bit. I'm quite happy. In-law suites with their own kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom, I love. The last 2 homes I've bought have had in-law suites, and they're full rentals. If I was to do what I did for my very first home in 2018, I would buy a home that has an in-law suite because I'd be able to live on the upstairs and I'd be able to rent the downstairs, help out with a mortgage, get a really good interest rate. Because if you buy a house with intentions of residing in it, you're going to get a better interest rate because you're going to get a primary residence loan versus an investment loan. That's called house hacking. I also have a video on that. Check it out on my YouTube channel if you're interested in that entire dynamics. I go great into detail in my previous videos. Okay, moving on here. Big fan of separate driveway as well. That just means more cars that I can park. I got 4 people that are going to be living in this place potentially, so that's 4 cars. 2 for the 2-car garage, a separate driver is a 3rd one, and a 4th car on the curb as well. So this is fantastic already. I'm loving it. Here's a 2-car garage. I also like that this description talks about what's been recently done to the house. New roof, new windows, no HOA restrictions. All right, this might be a little divisive, but I despise HOAs, both as a homeowner and as an investor. As a homeowner, sure, I understand the appeal to them. There are some good HOAs, there are definitely some good reasons to have them. So don't interpret my opinion as hating on HOAs. But as an investor, personally, owning 8 properties, hearing nightmare stories, don't bother buying investment properties with HOAs. You're putting yourself at tremendous risk that you're going to be placed through tons of regulations, pain in the requests. It's just a terrible, terrible decision. So avoid that like a plague. All right, that's the description. Moving on to more information that I like to look for. I'm actually just going to go through this and tell you what jumps out. Cooling. I just like anything that has to do with central air, central heating. That's important to me. Moving through here, double pane windows. That's awesome. Better energy efficiency. We're liking that. Finished basement. That's great. I like to take note of how much is finished above ground and below ground. That's just something that's worth accounting for and making sure it's accurate when I show you how to pull up the parcel records to make sure there's no discrepancies there in the square footage. Anything else that jumps out at me? Listen, special conditions sold as is. This might seem intimidating. It's like, oh, there has to be something wrong with it if it's being sold as is, right? No, this basically just means that the seller has no intention of paying to fix, rehab, or make any improvements to the place, even if the inspection yields that there's some issues. This doesn't make it a bad thing. It just means that you're going to have much more power to negotiate. I don't consider the special condition as sold as is as a negative. All right, moving forward, 1967, it's a bit of a red flag. Anything before 1980 has some potential issues, and really any home that at that point is approximately 40, 50 plus years, it's more prone to potential issues with plumbing and foundation. So again, it's a 67-year home. My parents' house is from the 1960s. It is freaking gorgeous. So it's not a problem. You just got to make sure you do your due diligence with the inspector. If it's a full rehab, anything before 1980 may have lead-based paint. And so doing any repairs, any renovations on the wall is dangerous unless you're doing it in a very safe manner. Just keep that in mind. Construction material, brick. Listen, I think as an investor, I love brick. It stands the test of time better. If you're doing this at a homeowner, it's a little bit more of a cosmetic preference, but also take into account where are you living based on. If you're in the Northeast in the US and you're subjected to a lot of cold, you're gonna want to have certain siding that is gonna be very well insulated. Brick tends to not be that case. If you're living in the Southeast, you're gonna want siding that's gonna be able to last the test of time through intense heat. Vinyl, not so great for that. Vinyl likes to expand a lot. And so, I would say hardy plank for the Southeast, which is where I'm based at, is the best, but I really like brick as well. Metal roofs are also love them or hate them kind of mentality. But from an investment perspective, what I can say is my first house had a metal roof. I love it. It lasts a lot longer compared to shingles. The only thing is you do need to, like all roofs, you kind of have to just keep an eye on them and maintain them. So with roofs, any nuts and bolts that keep the roof intact there, you have to make sure and check them. I think it's every 8 years is what it's recommended to make sure that there's no potential sealant that has come off. And if so, you have to put in a bigger screw into the hole so that there's absolutely no way water can go through the roof. Moving on, sewer is another thing I look at. As an investor, I don't bother with septic tanks. I really think that's just, I get more pain in the ass to deal with, more potential costs because you have to maintain them and you have to drain them. And of course, they clog up a lot easier. So for me, investor, no brainer, has to be public sewer. If you're a homeowner and you're comfortable dealing with that, you know, a septic tank, you're going to be able to find a home that's less expensive. So that's definitely a personal preference as well. All right, continuing to moving on. We've already covered HOA. We're not going to beat a dead horse with that. Don't do it, in my opinion. It's not worth it. And then moving on, this gives you kind of a historical price. That's all dandy. Take a look at the price history though. I have come across certain homes where it's been listed for sale, it's pending at sale, it's under contract, then buyer backed out and it's back on for listed for sale. And I've seen homes that do that too, sometimes even 3 or 4 times. The last property I bought did that, I think it was 3 times. And I was able to come in and negotiated hard because once I went under contract, I had my due diligence to decide if I wanted to back out for any reason. And I did find some issues, some concerns, and I did not negotiate. There was no wiggle room. There will be a price reduction. And I ended up going from $390, I think, to $372. I was really quite pleased with that outcome. So sometimes seeing homes that are pending come back on the market and repeat can be an indication of like something's definitely wrong, but it's also an opportunity. It's worth looking into and exploring just to see if you might be able to get a good deal from that. We've already covered about the monthly payment calculator and why that's important. And the next thing I look for here is nearby schools. Again, quite subjective. A lot of investment properties, like if you're buying Section 8, this doesn't matter. But if you're buying what I buy, I care about high appraisal for the long term. Buying near good schools is really worthwhile. So what I look for in my markets, my business model, is at least one school that has an 8 or above great schools rating. This one's got 1.8, 1.7, and that to me checks off that box. It's in good enough school areas. Okay, that's it on Zillow, folks. In terms of pictures, I'm gonna go through all of these. But if you're not interested in spending the next 10 minutes me analyzing the pictures, and instead you wanna jump right into what I do with the property parcel evaluation, check out the timeline in the below video just to skip over to the next section. But I do wanna take the time for folks interested in picking my knowledge in terms of what I'm looking at when I look at these pictures. Okay, picture number 1. What I'm noticing here is it's a very simple layout. I like simplicity. The roof, I can already tell, is going to be incredibly easy to maintain. Getting to the gutters, it's going to be incredibly easy to get to. So I can do inexpensive gutter cleaning, very easy gutter guard installation, which I do have a video. So if you're interested in gutter guards and how to install them yourself, check out my channel. I have a step-by-step walkthrough on how I did that in one of my homes. Another thing that jumps out immediately is the stairs to the front. This is potentially off-putting to some buyers, but it's not a big issue. The thing I would really hone in when I go look at this in person is that these rails are very strong, that they're really reliable. Because if you're buying this as an investment property, if anyone falls due to a weak rail or a lack of a rail in any kind of elevated part of the home, you are liable for that as the landlord, as a homeowner. If you're buying this as for a family and you have got kids, you're also going to want to make sure that it's kid-proof, it's kid-safe. Let's go on to the next one. Look at that. I mean, listen, I worry less about do I like it, is it for me when determining this, and I just look at how clean is it. Is there any damage? I actually like homes that require a little bit of sweat equity / repairs because it's how I can add value to it. I get a better deal, and I'm quite handy and resourceful myself after doing this for 6 years. But I look at this picture, love the hardwood, love the fact that everything looks clean. The colors of the wall are not intense. They're quite neutral. This looks really good to me. Here, same thing. Anytime I look at doors, I look to see if there's any cracks. There are indications of potential settling. So I don't see that on here. No issues. Tile here in the front is quite common just to not get the floor dirty. So this all looks good. Love the natural lighting. Just another angle, same thing. I'm looking for damage or red signs of any stains. Plumbing stains, look for plumbing stains. If you see a stain, you're gonna wanna make sure it's dry, because if there's an active leak, leaks are just expensive to fix, y'all. Another different angle, Love the natural lighting. Pretty straightforward layout in this living room. Another angle of the living room, same thing, same room. Another angle, same room, another angle. They really like their living room. This is weird. It's kind of like a pantry door that leads into the kitchen. That's going to require renovation, but again, can I rent it out as is? Absolutely. I'm probably not going to do anything with it, so I'm cool with it. All right, this looks to be where I think this is just another room with a chimney, right? Because there was no chimney in the living room. So yeah, this is kind of like the family room. Everyone kind of comes in and chills. You know, you've got the walls here. You know, some people might find this old school. So, but it's clean. As an investor, I don't mind these. I would keep them. I wouldn't swap them out. I just go ahead and rent this out. Looking at this, looks, again, great natural lighting, no stains, no damage that I'm concerned of here. That's just a chimney. I'm not seeing any damage here anywhere. All right, this kitchen needs a lot of a lot of renovations, but again, I love that. I'm handy. I could easily rip out all of the cabinets, the countertops, brand new appliances. I'd replace this. I think it's called a Bastion light. These, I really don't like these at all. They can make a lot of noise. They're also quite expensive to swap out the bulbs for. So, you know, I would replace this with something more modern. But again, can I rent this as is? Yes, I can. So big fan of this kitchen. It just works. It's simple. It's got a lot of opportunity for improvement. So, but again, I'm not seeing anything that concerns me. The flooring, the tile, same thing. You know, if I was to put in a lot of effort into this and sell it, I'd remove the entire floor and put it something more modern. But again, this looks fine. I got a little bit of damage here. Listen, if you're renting this out as an investor, paint the thing. It's not gonna impact someone that was looking to live here as long as everything else is clean and it's in a safe neighborhood. This is a cosmetic issue. It's not the end of the world. They have a backsplash on here, so that's nice. I can tell that the countertop is laminate, so it's quite cheap. But once again, opportunities for us to add some additional value to the house in the future. Same thing, this is another angle to the kitchen, so I'm just gonna skip over this. A little closer look into the damaged area. I can tell that this refrigerator doesn't have a water dispenser, so I'm assuming there's no water line back here. Something to keep in mind, that's, you know, it wouldn't be too terrible to put in a new water line since the kitchen is right here, but that is something to also keep into account. Just another angle. We already talked about all the renovation possibilities here. Actually, let's go back. That's interesting. Normally you want to have GFCI outlets. That's not going to be to code. So there's already opportunities here where I already know the inspection is going to flag this stuff, and we'll be able to negotiate down some of this, some of the costs here. Another angle of the kitchen. There's the washer dryer. Nothing to see here. It's standard. Okay, two things I spot here. One is this device here, mechanism, common in older homes, basically is a big ass fan to help ventilate the attic. It makes a lot of noise. It's ugly to look at. No one installs these anymore. So again, does this affect my rental revenue? It doesn't. We just make sure that it doesn't ever turn on if my renters wanted to turn on, say, the lights. So I completely disable this from the electrical light switch if it was still active. But in the future, if I want to sell this, put some sweat equity in, I would remove this entire fan. I would re-drywall the ceiling, retexture it. It looked a lot nicer. Second thing I noticed is old thermostat. Check out my video if you're interested in modernizing the thermostat. I love Nest thermostats. I've reviewed it. I've installed them in, I think, 6 homes already. It's a great product. There's no reason not to get one, frankly. All right, moving on. Bedroom number 1, carpets. Listen, it's fine. If I was renting this, I would want to rip out this carpet, put some LVP. Yes, some people like the carpet because it's more comfortable on their feet, or maybe they've got kids and they're afraid that their kids are going to fall and hurt themselves. Carpet's just better. Listen, once you rip out a carpet and see what's underneath there, you are traumatized for life. So, yes, I can't live in carpeted areas anymore. I'd rather put in luxury vinyl planking, LVP, and then that's easy DIY to install, very easy to do. And then I would, if I wanted to, I would put in an entire rug over that if it was a personal preference. But the room is basic. I like it. Boring is sometimes better for renting, so this is great. Good natural lighting, 2 windows. Fan is old, but it's, as long as it's in working condition, all this looks great. Again, I'm not seeing any cracks in the corners, no stains, no nothing in the ceiling, so all this looks good. Another angle. Closet doors are loose here. Easy DIY fix. I don't have a video for that. If you want to know how to fix your closet sliding doors, it's a really easy job. Let me know in the comments. I'm happy to make a video of it because I've got 2 closet doors in my house here that could benefit from that, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But y'all can help push me and actually do that work and record it for y'all. All right, we got the first bathroom. Listen, it's a tiny bathroom. Not a fan, but again, as a rental, it's gonna get the job done. I like the floor. I can tell that this is tiled floor. It looks good. Cheap countertops, it's laminate, so opportunities for renovation, but the cabinetry looks okay. And then we could renovate the lights up here and renovate the hardware, the faucet here. All of that is very easy to do. So not terrible. This one I can tell it's GFCI, so this one actually is to code, so that's good. Moving on, next, another bedroom, same thing. Love it, simple, boring, I like it. No closet doors on this one. Cool. I'm a fan. Simple. We do have some damaged walls. Paint can fix that so it doesn't look too bad. Another bathroom. Same thing. Cheap countertops. Cheap hardware. But we got tile. Potential renovation opportunities. But so far looks like a standard bathroom. Here's the tub and the tiled shower. These are getting old in my opinion. I'm not a fan of these. It would cost quite a bit of money to remove all of these and put a more modern one because you've already got the holes here. And it wouldn't be easy. They'd have to potentially remove this entire wall and repipe the whole thing. But again, opportunity. I look at this bathroom and I think to myself, if I wanted to sell this in the future, I'd just rip the whole thing out. I would tile from ground all the way to the ceiling. In my opinion, in all the homes you buy, you want to have at least 1 tub, especially as an investor, because when you sell it, a family that has potential kids incoming or babies, they want a tub to be able to shower, right? To shower them. So I'm all for walk-in showers. I love them, but you want at least 1 tub. But this one, I might be able to convert just to an entire stand-in shower since we've got 3 full bathrooms. All right, another bedroom, standard. This one looks a little smaller than the other ones, but again, looks pretty good. It's got its own closets, so same, looks solid. This is the finished in-law suite. I love this. Separate entrance, separate driveway, already hardwood floored or LVP. This is awesome. I mean, honestly, this one's gonna easily rent for $1,200 a month. So it's got its own washer dryer, its own bathroom. So this is cool. This is fantastic. Let's see, there's the kitchen over there. We'll take a closer look. I'm looking at this drop floor ceiling. Doesn't look damaged, looks fine, so that's good. Great natural lighting. Looks like new sliding doors too. This looks pretty renovated. Wall here, the simple, another angle. Looks to be the bedroom, if I had to guess. This is a bedroom, so looks good to me. 2 closets, nice. No issues here. There's a bathroom. So this might be, actually, because this is in the in-law suite, I take it back. The previous bathroom, I might leave tubbed. This one, I would just take the whole thing off and just put a walk-in shower here, and it looks quite sizable too. So I think that'd be a good addition, in my opinion. Yeah, cool. All right, so bathroom's pretty straightforward here. Kitchen looks very small, but that's okay. I'm assuming this is a pantry here. Outdated oven, so I'd probably want to swap that out. Really outdated lighting, but again, it's drop floor ceiling, so I might just want to replace this here, put in a new one, and just put one of those, I call them breast lights. Sorry, don't cancel me. I just got on YouTube, but yeah, one of those. This just looks ugly to me. Looks like that's where our washer dryer would get hooked up. So all that looks fine. Again, all of this, I look at this, I'm like, I would tear this up. I would put brand new cabinets, granite countertops or quartz, More modern sink here with a modern faucet. Lots of potential here, and it's so easy to work in these type of finished in-law suites as well. So lots of opportunity. Big fan of this. Another angle. Backyard. I'm gonna just walk through these, y'all. I think I'll do them a little quicker here. I'll only call out some of the things that caught my eye. This looks very dirty. I'm not sure if it's raw or if it's just dirt, but if I was to look at this in person, I'd check out I think this is called the soffits. Yeah, the soffit and the fascia and the gutters, just to make sure that they're all in good quality. Garage door. Look, it looks dated. Number one thing that you get back ROI. Paint. Number two, new garage doors. So I would also be renovating this garage door whenever I wanted to resell this. If it's obviously in working condition, I just keep this as is for now though. Nothing else here jumps out. Some tree branches I have a feeling are over the roof. I'd hire an arborist to either cut down the tree or trim the branch so that there's nothing over the roof. Another picture from afar. I'm not noticing that this is fenced, so that's another renovation opportunity. People love privacy. It's great for pets. So again, if I wanted to sell this, I definitely invest in installing a fence. Spacious yard. Nothing here catches my eye that's of concern. Same thing. I'm looking. So this one I might be worried a little bit about the water flow, so I might put in an extension here just to make sure that the water flows away from the foundation. Everything else looks good. Just another angle. Another angle of the front. That's the separate driveway. Looks good. Your inspector's probably going to call out that there's clear indications of settling here and cracking, but that's okay, y'all. It's not the end of the world unless it's severe. Here's another gutter. This one kind of flows away, so that's okay. Nothing here looks concerning. One thing I'm concerned about here is this. It looks like there's rot here and a little bit of staining here. So I want to make sure that the metal roof precisely has been maintained recently and that there's no risk of leaking. So this to me is something I would have my inspector look at and potentially negotiate as well. It's just another angle. What catches my eye here is staining in the chimney. Sure, this one also has it, but I want to make sure that there's no indications of leaks or water intrusion coming from the chimney. My parents' house had that, and it's, again, typically a brick, all the mortar, I think it's called, between the bricks. Over time, it does degrade, so you might just need to reapply a new layer of that if there is water intrusion coming into that. Just moving on. All right, that's all in for the photos. Like I said, I go deep into a video of me walking through an actual home that I ended up purchasing, and I effectively inspected. Not licensed inspector, but as a homeowner, as a property investor, maybe it's something you'll find useful. So check out my channel for that video. So the last thing I want to do is I'm going to take this address and I'm going to go visit my county's parcel records. And what I'm going to want to look for here, I have to go over to all maps. Each county has a different website. No offense, but these are horribly maintained, so they're kind of a pain to navigate. But you want to find the parcel viewer. And this is going to give you some more information about the house that is worthwhile to keep in mind whenever you're potentially putting an offer. First thing I like about this view is it gives you a ballpark of where your property lines reside in. So I like this because I can see, like I confirmed in the pictures, we've got a sizable backyard. This is a good lot. You kind of compare it to some of these homes above, they're a little bit thinner. This one's about the same size. So on this side, you got some of the similar ones here. These have heavy trees last time it was taken. So again, not as many trees on this one. So big fan, just simple information. If you wanted to get these specific property lines, you have to order a survey, which is fully optional. All right, so I click on the actual record. This is all public information. So what I like to look for here is the historical appraised values. In 2023, this was appraised at $288,000. That is about $80,000 less than what is being asked for. That's a hefty increase. So again, very important to work with your realtor to say, are there comps to justify the 360 that have sold in the last 30 days? Of course, we don't know how much this appraised in 2024. It might be higher than that, it might be closer to precisely the 360, it might be 340. But at the end of the day, this protection here is, even if you do decide to put in an offer, as long as you don't waive appraisal contingencies, if the house appraises for less, the seller either has to match that price and not sell it for higher, or you have the entire right to walk away and retain your earnest money back. So there's definitely some comfort there. But yeah, to me, this is good information, right? I mean, in just 3 years ago, this house was 170. So in 3 years, it's more than doubled. That's about right for this area, frankly. So I know that it's probably just about right. Other things to look for here is I like to double check that between the resident square footage and the rec room, aka the finished basement, that matches what is being put on Zillow and on MLS. I have had homes that are misleading in terms of the actual square footage, so keep that in mind as well. It also tells me when was the last time it was sold. Same thing on Zillow, but that's important because if it was sold just a year ago, why so quick, right? Was it a flip? Was there something wrong with it that someone has decided to abort? Was it an investment property that maybe wasn't taken care of? If it's only been held for a couple or a few years. But this one's been held for over 23 years. I know this was a family that lived here. They care about the house. So it's very, very encouraging. And I would definitely feel comfortable buying this right off the bat. So let's recap, team. That's it that I wanted to cover. So things at a high level I covered with you all. I assessed from a cash flow perspective and a cap rate if it's a good deal based on my area that I'm investing in. I also walked through all of the features and the descriptions to see if it had some nice to haves, but no red flags like HOAs, no septic tanks. And then we looked through the pictures just to see if there was anything that I wanted to make a note of that I would want to take a closer look at when I went there in person. So what do I have now? I now have a game plan. I can talk to my realtor to perform additional analysis on comp rates and rental comp rates as well. And now when I go to the property, I know what I want to look for in greater detail. So I hope you found this video helpful, whether you're an aspiring real estate investor, a potential first-time home buyer, or whether you're just curious about how people go about assessing properties. And if you did find this valuable, please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing to my channel. I have a lot of great content that I like to share with you all around DIY projects, real estate, finance, and technology topics. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.